Hi there, everyone. It's me, Bianca, your book editor bestie. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the silliest things that keeps writers from continuing to make progress in their drafts, and that is stopping to name characters. For some writers, it's easy to just use a placeholder name like Villain A or Crusty Old Dude, just to placehold that name and come back to it later. But for some of us, if we don't find the perfect name that embodies each character, we feel like we need to bring our writing to a halt. And so, in order to avoid this issue today, we're going to talk about some name generators that you can find online. The first name generator that I want to talk to you guys about is fantasynamegenerator.com. Now, fantasynamegenerator.com, out of all the resources that I'm going to be showing you guys today, probably has the most names that you have to double check to make sure it hasn't already been used in another IP. But it does have some good ideas and it has a vast store of different name generators. As you can see on the top toolbar here, we have fantasy, real names, places, locations, other names, pop culture, description generators, and other generators. There's a whole bunch. So even just to go into the drop down menu, you can see the sheer amount of options that they have, from druids to imps to nephilims to succubuses to moon rabbits. What even is that? Now I want to click it and see what it is. Moon rabbit. Oh, you see, so what's cool about this is they actually do tell you what it's about. So apparently, the moon rabbit is a rabbit who, surprise, surprise, lives on the moon, according to the folklore in many cultures, especially in Chinese folklore, Japanese, and Korean. Okay, I've heard of this. It's the mochi rabbit, I think. I've heard of that in Japanese culture. I did not know that other Asian cultures also had that same um, folklore. Well, makes sense. This is pretty cool. It actually shows you the meaning of it, so you don't have one of those tattoo another language on your body situations and you don't actually know what it means. So naming a character that's like super weak strong, I mean, I guess that could be funny. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But just to explore the other ones here as well, if you click real names, it actually takes you to real cultures, cultures that you may not actually think about right away, like Ethiopian cultures or Swahili names. So it's pretty cool, and you can do it by continent essentially. So you can get real particular about it. The places and location names, this is something that not a lot of name generators have. So this is pretty cool. And it gets pretty granular, like daycare names, dungeon names, farm names, library names. Like, it has a lot. You can spend a long time finding all kinds of names for your stories here. Under other names, it's even more broad in what they have. I mean, plague names, pirate crew names, artifact names. So this could be super helpful. Let's just jump into artifact names just to give it a look here. Paramount Sword, the Sentient Ring, the Hide of Delusion. Like, I can imagine a lot of writers coming here not even to name something specific right away, but even coming here for an idea as to, for example, an artifact. You know that you want your characters to seek out an artifact, but you're not sure what artifact you quite want. You can come here and look at the options and keep generating names until you find one that's like, oh, you know what? I want it to be an amulet, or let me do a jar of storms, and obviously you can like rename it. Not all names are amazing, but that's what the repopulate button is for. In the pop culture one, it also has basically names in already existing IPs. So Lord of the Rings, Zelda, Pokemon, Transformers. So this is pretty cool. Probably not something you would use necessarily for one of your characters in your stories, but it can be a cool place to come if you're trying to find a name for a game that you're playing. For example, Dungeons and Dragons. Description names has yet more names for different things like armor or animals or even hand gestures, holidays. So that's pretty cool. Let's go to animal descriptions. I'm kind of curious if it is. Okay, so this has a paragraph description of actually like a different animal that you could be using. So that's pretty cool. It's not actually the name, they're actually generating the description, because I haven't looked in all of these. There's so many. So it's pretty cool to see the different capabilities that I haven't explored before. But that's enough of that, of fantasynamegenerators.com. The next one I want to explore with you guys is Don John. This one is not as vast, but what I do appreciate about it is it has sci-fi names. A lot of name generators, they only focus on fantasy. So that's pretty helpful. Still not that vast. We only have the distinctions between cyberpunk and space. But hey, take what you take. You can also do it based on culture, so that's kind of cool, or do it based on gender. If you look on the side here, you can also find that it also helps you with existing IPs and like playing board games and such, because it doesn't only have name generators, it also has things like a random dungeon generator. It has a power attack calculator. So this is very gamer focused, but you can go to the sci-fi section to find some sci-fi names. The next name generator that I'd like you guys to know about is the Reedsy name generator. This one's probably the most cutesy one. It doesn't provide as many as the other ones, but it's pretty straightforward, so I still like to use it sometimes. As you can see, they have these name generators, not just for specific characters, so it can be helpful in that way. Let's go to Orc. Yeah, that's an Orc name. Vorzag Grobalvok. And obviously, if you use one of these super long names, you probably would be abbreviating it to something shorter if you keep writing it over and over again and just introduce them by their full name in the beginning. But you can also use female and male, just like the other generators. We went to island, naming an island. Ooh, the Luminous Refuge, Sunbreak Archipelago. Like, these sound like pretty cool fantasy places. If you need a city or a town name or a country name or a planet name, Reedsy has got you. Another name generator that I really like to use is mythopedia.com. This one is cool because it isn't only a name generator, it's actually primarily a place to learn about mythology. So if you click under guides, you can see this is the mythology focus that they have here. So you can learn about Aztec mythology if you want before you even like name it. Let's say your culture is based on a real world culture, you could definitely do some research here. But focusing on just the name portion, it has different categories just like the other ones. It has some that the others might not have, like Greek gods specifically, or barbarians, mages. So it's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and try barbarian. So kind of like Reedsy, it doesn't generate that many, but at the end of the day, if you just keep generating, it doesn't really matter how many they show you at once. And you can do it based on sex as well. The last way of finding a name for a character, and the most obvious, is just using Google. Especially, I think, for sci-fi names, since it's lesser used in these name generators. Literally just look it up. Futuristic baby names. It might feel weird because, you know, if you're not expecting, it's like, what am I doing on a baby name website? But just check it out. Go past all the ads that they have and just look at what they have. You might find the perfect name for your character. All right, guys, that is pretty much it. I hope that you find this video helpful, and I hope that it helps you move on with the business of writing and not stall just to find a character name. I'll see you next time.